Okay, this is going to be a short little episode, and I will let you look down at your phone now and see, yes, it's shorter than normal. Will was on vacation, and I was on vacation, shorter vacation, and I should have planned on doing something while he was gone, and that was my plan. But things got busy, things got crazy. Before I started this recording, I tried to remember what was even happening, and I didn't. I can't remember what happens, more than a day in the past. But Will is living the one percenter life, and I am living the bottom one percenter life. Will was in Mexico, and Michael was in Wenatchee. And so, yeah, our vacays were a little bit different. And I will let Will fill you in about his vacay next week. So hopefully it was good. Hopefully there was some shootings nearby, or maybe some cartel activity that doesn't involve shootings. And that's not being racist at all. That is just the reality of what's been happening around some of these. What are they called? They're not hotels. They are resorts where, in the past, it's always been like, hey, hands off these areas, kind of like an unspoken rule. And some of those unspoken rules are being broken lately. I don't know, just a thing. So maybe he's going to come back and say, oh, we just hung out on the beach and it was quiet. And that would be fine, but it wouldn't make as good a podcast. Speaking of not good podcasts, I am going to fill in this week solo. And that's why it's going to be short. And I will just fill you in on what's been going on in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. About Leavenworth, and that's that I do not understand that people who go to Leavenworth in the winter. Why would you go to Leavenworth in the winter? What would be the point? What would be the fun in it? I understand that people go for the Christmas lights. I understand that people go for Oktoberfest, which is not in Leavenworth anymore. It's in Wenatchee. So in that way, Gig Harbor and Leavenworth have something in common. They both canceled one of their main attractions. Gig Harbor, they don't have the, what's it called? Plane flight thing. Museum of Flight. What is it? Flight show. They don't have their flight show. Flight show? That sounds wrong, but I think it's right. Anyways, they don't have it. And now Leavenworth, so somebody in Gig Harbor decided, hey, this is not good. It's not good that people visit our town. It's not good that we have something going on. Civic pride is not a thing. So, and that's what they're doing in Leavenworth too. They decided Oktoberfest, which, why are you going to force, regular businesses like retail, like realtors and Safeway and McDonald's, to have their signage in weird Bavarian fonts? If you're not going to have an Oktoberfest there, that makes zero sense. But they decided they're going to have Leavenworth's Oktoberfest in Wenatchee. That's what it's called. Leavenworth's Oktoberfest in Wenatchee. So you can go up there. people go for the Christmas lights and all that kind of thing. But I don't understand why you would do that, because when you go there in the summertime, people are living their best lives. And when people are living their best lives in the summer, there is side boob. There is men in tank tops, if you like. There is women in dresses that show like tattoos that they have on their ribs and things like that. And I'm not saying that for me. I'm not saying I noticed that kind of thing. I was just thinking about the podcast and thinking about listeners and what I could do as a service to them. And as a service to some of the listeners, I would say, if you wanted to go to a place where people are living a sort of faux European summer lifestyle, you can go to Leavenworth, where people are drinking outside. They're having wine with their girlfriends. They're just, I want to say they're looking for a date, but they're probably not. But don't let that stop you from interrupting them and, trying to get their number or something. It's 85 degrees. People have their hair down. It's a lot of young people looking great. And it might be a place where you want to be. If you want to see some beautiful people, the beautiful people. There is, if you're into brown guys, there was a lot of Desi. Is that the term now? People there. A lot of guys like that. If you're into that. So if you want to get a guy's number, you can do that there. It's a lot of, part of me feels weird for saying beautiful people, but you see, some people are just beautiful. That's what it is. And I think some people are the beautiful people. Beautiful people can go either two ways. They can be the number one people who are trying to cover up, or they can be the number one people not covering up. So if you'll find both sides of the spectrum there, and you'll find not beautiful people who you wish would cover up. There's a few of those as well. But everybody is just living their best life. So, so if you want to go to Leavenworth and if it's like a big deal to you to see beautiful people, just drinking wine and having a great time, you can go to Leavenworth in the summertime. And if you want to be freezing cold and you want to put chains on your car as you're going up the pass, and if you want to have a parka on while you meet beautiful people, you can go in the wintertime. So that's just a service of mine. I wouldn't look at anybody because I'm married to the beautiful people. So I have nothing to look at for the rest of my life. And that doesn't bother me at all. But as a service, there are good-looking men and women if that's a place where you want to go. If you've heard the great things about Leavenworth and they say, oh, the Christmas lights and the snow on the mountains, don't do that. You can look at pictures of snow. You can't meet snow, but you can meet people. And I don't know. I this has nothing to do with anything except it's like a strange story. I'm going to throw this strange story out there this week, and then I will get Will to comment. Speaking of Bavaria, I guess my nephew, he went to Germany as like a school trip. And so I was hearing about it, and he was, all the little stops, all the food they ate, what he spent his money on, knives, of course. And what did we get? We started talking about, if he had gone to Washington, D.C. when he was in junior high, because I know that's a big thing that people do. I went there in junior high, and this kind of goes to beautiful people. I thought of this story there, and so I guess I need Will to help me put it in proper context. But one of the stops on the Washington, D.C. trip was the FBI building. And you go in there, and then they show you the bulletproof glass, and it's been shot up a bunch of times. And then then I remember they showed you one bullet finally got through. So even the bulletproof glass is not completely bulletproof. You have to be vigilant or something like that. And I'm not going to make a political statement right now, but then we went to one of the places we went to was Monticello. I raised the flag there, and we're not going to talk about the slaves that the founding fathers had or anything like that, but lots of fun was had on that trip. I actually do not remember it at all. And I'm going to have to ask my parents for pictures to see what kind of life I lived. But one of the places, we went to was the FBI building. Now, the part I remember most from my trip, and this just sprung to my mind while I was listening about Germany. We went to the FBI building, and one of the places that we went to, they had like a gun range down below, and then they had like a place where you could watch or something. I don't even know what the point of it was or what. It feels like a dream. It feels like so weird that I might ask my dad, and he's like, that's just like a weird pervy dream he had. But I just remember us talking, and we're in the FBI building, and somehow we're going to this gun range where you can see, and there's like a lady behind glass, and she comes out, and she has one of those like lady suits on that's like a pencil skirt on the bottom, but like a sleek blazer on top. It was matching, but she comes in there, and did she have goggles or something on? She might have, because we're kids and she has to show like she's very safe. But then she has some type of assault rifle weaponry, and it was deadly weaponry. And she proceeds to turn around and fire at some unknown target, because I don't even know. I was so mesmerized. I wouldn't call it a sexual awakening, because I just wouldn't call it that. But at the same time, it was like, I also don't want to say turn on either, because I was 14 and that just sounds weird to say. But something about that moment was amazing to me in a male-female sexual energy sort of way. And I don't know. Maybe it's a pencil skirt. Maybe it's a turnaround and firing. And there was a lot of rat-a-tat-tatting. And the firing of the gun. And then she turns around and is like, okay, that's all. And then she walks out of view, and then whoever was our tour guide was like, okay, then here we go, next to the whatever. Now you know we can shoot people, and we're on to the next thing. And for some reason, that memory has stuck in my mind. And I thought it was so funny because then I started thinking, what is it about these moments where it's sort of funny because it's like, I mean, that's sort of like a trope, right? Like these, movies where women are doing like the traditionally masculine thing, like Tomb Raider, or I can't think of what's the other one, like Salt, or I can't think of what all those like genre of movies are, but what's the Aeon Flux? I don't know any recent ones where it's like the woman doing like, she's got the machine gun and she's the one running through the forest and she's the one. Oh, how about what was the drug one where the 13 going on 30? What's her name? Jennifer Garner. There's like a drug one or something where she goes around like killing everyone in the name of avenging her daughter or something. That's a crazy one. But it's just kind of funny because there's something about putting women in like these hyper masculine roles and like sort of traditionally masculine like archetype, like kicking ass, taking names, machine gun. They got like the sweat grime on their face. They're punching somebody out. They're sniping. They're doing the blaze like across the fan, across in a circle, and they're shooting everyone and nobody's shooting them. And I don't know why it struck me as I was thinking about that FBI story. I was just thinking, why does it take it takes both. It's all sides. So maybe you like the tattoo girl who in her rib tattoo is hanging out of her dress. For some reason that stuck out in my mind because the girl had like mushrooms tattooed. I'm like, okay, you like mushrooms, fine. So then when people have mushrooms tattoos, you're like, okay, do you like drugs or do you like the woods? And it's probably drugs. This person, I would guess drugs. But so you might like the sundress person, but you also might like the manly woman. And if you like manly women, that's okay because that's what you like. And I will say a manly woman is like, a lot of people must like it because those movies always do good. And as long as their body is a certain shape, usually, I'm sorry for any female listeners, but you know what? I'm not sorry, female listeners, because female listeners have their own things that they find attractive in men. And maybe there's a comp. Maybe there's a comp for men. So if there's a comp for men, you can leave that in the comments. And Will and I will tackle that next time. So anyways, maybe Will can help me sort out that situation. It was sort of, I don't know. It was, there was just people out there, and you just notice people, and it's okay. People out there, there's a guy in a Rolls Royce today, parked at a fruit stand, so I don't know what that was all about. He was all dressed in white. And he was cool. He had like a flowy silk shirt, but also a plain white baseball hat on. So whatever that style is called. There was probably that style of guy down in Mexico because it sort of maybe fits that vibe a little bit. I don't know. Anyways, I just want to say, we have never missed a week of podcasting in the last bajillion weeks, and I couldn't give it up this time. And there's weeks we did late episodes, and I didn't even want to do that. And I know Will wants the same thing. We're keeping this going. But please tell your friends, and we'll be back to normal next week.